The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host, who always likes to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? Well, we're down 7.5 points on the S&P cash. Dow's down 110. NASDAQ's up 8-ish. Russell 2000 is down about 4. Crude oil's down about 63 cents. What else do we have out here? Gold flat I have at 1569. Big mover, of course, was, I guess, probably for most stuff is the dollar, up 35 cents at 96.70 on the March DX contract. Volume is good, but not fantastic. We did dip kind of lower earlier in the day and then went higher and then kind of go lower. But I'm not going to get too excited. And the reason why is options expiration delta neutral day is tomorrow. I'm going to know a lot more about what's going to happen in the next 7 days, at least what the insiders on the street think is going to happen in the next 7 days. So we'll look at that in the first options expiration of the new year. That'll be on the 17th. We'll talk about some other stuff out there. I'd been looking at buying calls on Boeing. We'll talk about why I didn't. Why I didn't. Yeah. Sounds like I've got a connector. I got a connector that probably needs a little bit more TLC. So what else is going on? That's it. Okay. Oh, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at bath@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always put a message in the den. And I guess we can just talk about Boeing right now. I had a question about why not. I was looking at the options for Boeing yesterday and maybe even into today. But to play options, I need a couple of things, and that is for options, I want to make 400 or 500% on my money to make up for when I don't lose, or when I don't win, or make, or even break even. And over time, kind of average about 250% on them. So not bad return on your money, but it means you have to have a lot of discipline in what you buy. I was looking at the 330s yesterday. My model had a good point to buy them at about $4 for the September 17th. They got down at about 650. So they were at a premium of about 50%. Did two things. One, made me know that there was a high probability that Boeing was going higher. The options at that price had a good indication that somebody knew something. They would have been a lot cheaper if they thought that the stock was going lower. So yeah, instead of about $4, they were priced out in the mid $6s to $7, and that pretty much told me everything I need to know about the monthly options expiration on it. But at the same time, I can't afford to make 100%. It seems almost counterintuitive, doesn't it? I can't afford to make 100% on options. I've got to make 2 or 3 or 400%. And that starts the way to start off with making a lot of money in options is not pay a lot for them up front, because if it just goes sideways, you can lose two ways. It goes against you, and of course it goes sideways and you just lose premium as it goes out. But pretty good indication, and a lot of times if I'm trading stocks, there'll be a great indication in the options of whether or not the option market makers think that there's any chance of it going higher. Now, I've been kind of talking about Boeing not going any lower, mostly because it made a fairly good indication that $320, $319 was a decent low. You did have a little bit more volume, but man, it only spent there about a minute down at 320 before it ran back up on this low on December 17th, and it was all volume on the upside. So you did have a lot of volume going into that low, but if you watch it trade, it wasn't much on the downside on that day. It was all, they pushed it down, it lasted all of about 5 seconds. So you got a nice 24-point move off the low in Boeing. But for me, there's something else that I find very interesting. And one, it's kind of abject hatred of Boeing by folks that, you know, if it was, they just hated it but loved every other stock. They're not. This is a kind of abject hatred of a stock because it's a corporation in America, and all corporations are evil except Apple. There's just a lot of, I don't know how to get to it, but I will bring up this. And I think I put it in the newsletter maybe last week or something. And this is CMG, another company that killed many of the people that ate there. It got all the way down to 247, 42, and of course it's up here at about 870 now. Especially people, in fact, one of the reasons that Boeing kind of popped a little bit today was there's a rumor, I haven't chased it down, that Warren Buffett is trying to buy some Boeing, and it's exactly the kind of company that he wants to buy. So I don't know if it's true or not, but it passes the smell test. He loves to buy companies that make fine products that are in distress. So I would not be surprised that he was the guy down there at 320 or 330 buying a lot of Boeing stock and willing to give it 10 years or 15 years. He can buy enough stock, though, to put a low in, and it really did not look like much else is happening there. But I'll tell you the reason why I suspect he would buy it, and that is he's looking at a order book for 4,000 planes. And for him, he's willing to buy it at a discount for sales that are take probably 5 or 6 years just to take care of the orders that they've got now, much less take any new orders. A lot can happen in 5 years, good and bad, but most likely they'll solve their problems and go forward, just like Chipotle did. And of course, a lot of people think about what you have to do to change. I wasn't exactly sure because I don't eat there and I don't like the food. Not that the food's bad, it's just not something that applies to me. But Chipotle had to give up exactly what they said that they wouldn't do. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't buy it at the lows. They did eventually give up on that. We'll talk about it when we come back from this.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, Taz understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the Taz Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the Taz Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Another issue on Boeing I did want to bring up, and because I made a comment about it earlier in the day, that I thought that maybe a lot of the shorts in Boeing were going to get the Tesla treatment. And that is that when everybody's shorting a stock, you don't want to, history, Bob? Yeah, I was going to get to history in a minute. But certainly shorts, and over the last 10 trading days, the average shorts in Boeing has been about 20%. As high as 25%, 26%, if memory serves me right. But the same thing with Tesla, and it hasn't changed for these guys. They're still 30% every day. People are taking a stab at trying to find Tesla. Generally, what happens if you want to watch on the daily numbers from FINRA on shorts in a stock is you want to see when everybody gives up, because that's normally when the thing moves. Now, let's say that you are bearish. I am not. We had a valid breakout of the highs. We did it with volume. We may come back and test that area, but I'm not someone that's fairly bearish. But again, there's no short of shorts in Tesla, even though a lot of people have kind of pared back. Every day they're shorting in the morning and covering in the afternoon. When those folks give up is the best time. We did short Tesla in the Tech Insider at about $340 last year and covered at whatever, 230 or 240 or something. There's a good lesson in that, and that's not be a pig, because you can talk yourself into any company going out of business. Things changed, and they did change for Tesla, mostly not in the United States. It was all about getting a plant up and running in China, and now, of course, they've got the first cars being delivered there. I have a feeling that when the end of that story is written, the Chinese will take everything that Tesla had, intellectual property, plants, and everything else. It'll end up a horrible footnote in the excesses of the market. But again, it doesn't do me any good to short a stock that I think is worth about 40 bucks. What is its PE? About 1,000? Even if they do what they say they're going to do, eventually it'll all catch up and it'll pull back. Maybe it goes back to 200, but still, 471 to 200 bucks could be a lot of money. But again, this has been the cult stock. There has been no other cult stock like this since Omega. And any kind of good news means that all bad news in this stock is ignored. But if we want to talk about stocks that trade far above any kind of intrinsic value, a la late 1999, Tesla would be it. At best, if you believe everything that people say, it's a $200 stock. If you actually go to something in more reality, it's about a $40 stock. But stocks like this, especially ones driven by true believers, there's just about no price that you can't put on a stock when it has nothing to do with the underlying sales or numbers. I also put it in the den this morning that there's nothing worse than a rational investment plan in an irrational world. Tesla is most irrational. And that brings us to our history for the day.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day, in 1943, Nikola Tesla died. He was born in 1856, the inventor of alternating current and pretty much all generating DC and AC generators. Tesla even worked for Edison, of course, from 1882 to 1886, where Edison screwed him over and cheated him out of a bunch of money. He went and started digging ditches. Actually, in his spare time, he created an alternating current generator. And the reason that we have AC, if you don't know much about electronics, is that you can transmit AC across long distances on fairly standard size kind of cables. The head of GE at the time was pushing DC, and it would have taken all the copper ever mined to actually wire New York City as it is today. There would be zero copper and aluminum left just to wire one city, and that city would have been New York City. Didn't make a lot of sense, but it didn't matter. In fact, what was it? I think it was January 2nd or 3rd of 1902. We had the immeasurable head of General Electric electrocuting a giant elephant in Central Park, or just off of Central Park, to show how dangerous AC actually was. But in the end, it didn't make economic sense, and it didn't matter. And that's where I go back to the Tesla today. Is this just history repeating? Does it not make any sense economically to price a company that's is a bigger value than every other car company combined in the United States? Does that sound right? Anyway, a little nutty to me. And of course, Tesla at the very end of his life, the last 5 years, kind of a nut. Watching Elon Musk today dance around, I'm wondering if there is, like I said, history kind of repeating itself. You never know. He got kind of nuts in the last 5-6 years of his life. Thought that he had to cut off his private parts because they were doing evil things to him. But that kind of tells you kind of the depths of how insane he was at the end. A lot of people believe a lot of conspiracy theories about him, but a little chance that in 110 years that someone wouldn't have stumbled along any of the things that he did. But interesting ideas. Thought of the laser, 30 years before Einstein, 20 years, something like that. But interesting dude. Okay, now we got a lot of stuff to get to, and we will get to it here. There's a lot of stuff up here. Let's go on here. Okay, let's get to the first part of it. InBev, let's take a quick look at that. MBEV. Well, you certainly come back down to the lows of about $2. This is where you would want to be starting to look at it. At $1.69, you want to look at this stock as a non-expiring option. That is that, maybe you buy 200 shares of the thing, right? And if things move along, that you add a little bit more. But these kind of stocks, the best thing to do is just kind of sit on them and assume that maybe you get a double or a triple out of them. You've got a couple of gaps up here at about $6.50. Would it be impossible to think they get up there? No. But at this point, you have to just assume, like a lottery ticket, that is what you're buying. You get into it slow and have to have a very long game on it, but not a bad-looking play. You're back to the gap on light volume. That's exactly the kind of pattern you want to look at, but make it function.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Wayne from Dallas asks about Costco. And I did see the numbers out for China imports, trade balance with the United States. And everybody's kind of got the picture out there. I think a lot of people are very confused about who has the upper hand in the trade deals. But you don't really have to put tariffs on. You just have to threaten them, and people will look for places to buy and build, like Vietnam or Malaysia or Taiwan or what else? Thailand. I mean, there's a lot of places in Asia to go that are not that far from cheap labor where you can build your stuff. And does it really mean that we're importing that much less stuff? No, but it is putting pressure on the Chinese. A lot of Costco stuff, though, looks like they're not willing to bend and buy stuff from other countries, or maybe it just takes too long for the contracts to run out. But my guess is that they know which side the bread is buttered on, and will probably go to other neighboring countries, giving China a whole lot less influence in the United States if they were to cut exports off to us. Ideally, I don't know if you're long or short this thing, but ideally, if you wanted the next position, it is a test of the October 3rd low at 281.60. Being a retailer that had a test of the high and did it on 1 million less shares on November 7th, you've got a valid sell signal in there. So the only thing you can really do on this one is wait for the test of that 281.60 from October 3rd. Okay, we also had some other stuff up here. InBev, Beyond Meat, BYND. You got a couple of, well, you got a nice candle out here today, and you've got decent volume. What do you need? You need about 6 million shares. You got 7 today. So certainly you're up there. You haven't broken the high of the 29th of November. That would be 84.90. So you've got $3 more to go, really, to test. You are in this big down candle of the 2nd of December. That had 6 million shares, but you're already into it with 7 million shares, and we got an hour and a half left to go, so not so bad. In fact, there's some other stocks that have been breaking out. Wanted to see if there was any continuation with Salesforce after its breakout yesterday. And yes, you've got some. Again, on this one, the number's about 166. So if it pulled back to an on-light volume to 166, that would probably be a decent place to look at it with a light volume. You know, we're going to actually start seeing a handful of stocks with earnings. And that starts on Wednesday morning. We've got Lennar. So we're going to get a little bit of a read in the building business. Now, the stocks in the builders are pretty much washed out. So I don't know if there's a lot of downside in this. I also don't know about buying anything in this sector because is there a catalyst to actually drive it higher? And I don't know or heard of one. Maybe it's lower rates are coming at us again. But I don't think they are, certainly not in the foreseeable future, maybe summertime or something. Maybe we get some more cuts or something, but who knows? In the meantime, I suspect that at best, Lennar is in a trading range, and at worst, could probably have a little weaker movements after its earnings. I have not looked and seen how many are short this thing. Let's take a quick look and see. Okay, last 3 days, they've been shorting it pretty heavily. It's got about 5 days to cover, which is on the high side. So it's got a little bit of extra room in the fact that if it doesn't move much, there are a lot of people on the short side of this thing that we need to cover. It's not horrific, but 5 days is actually fairly big for a well-known stock like this. See if anything else is out here. I know we got a couple more emails. So let's take a look at that. Beyond Meat. Okay. A lot of comments. Buffett could buy Boeing just like they bought Goldman Sachs when they were in a lot worse shape. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You don't know if it's true, but if you're short, you gotta think that there's a possibility. It's something he would have done in the past. He's got cash, so you kind of have to be on that side. Question about Apple and what's going on. Today is really the first day of the Consumer Electronics Show. I was watching some of the briefings on it, and there's a TV that kind of turns up and down like in portrait mode. Not exactly sure what that was about. People kind of looking for new product ideas at the Consumer Electronics Show. A lot of it is electronics and cars. That's kind of taken over the Consumer Electronics Show as of late. There was kind of a neat device that'll print on human skin, and you can give it a image and roll it down your arm, and it will actually give you a tattoo. Not a permanent one, but like a what do you call it? A temporary tattoo, which I thought was kind of interesting. But probably the big news was AMD and Intel talking about their new products. Do I still have that? I don't know. I could probably find it. Did have a couple of questions about some of the new computers that I'd been building. Someone asked me, I think I either must have said something yesterday or in the emails or in the newsletters or before I left about water cooling for a lot of these new chips from Intel and AMD. In fact, let's take a look at AMD. You got a little bit of a pullback on light volume. No signal yet, though, and you're still on the trend line. Especially AMD and Intel, these new 8 and 12 core processors, like the one I used in the builds on my new PCs for this year. The question is, why do I want to go with water cooling on those? And they put off a lot of heat. So you could have a big kind of air cooler on these processors, but you're talking about hanging about 5 pounds of metal off the circuit board of that, or maybe a half a pound and use water cooling. And that's pretty much it. You can't move enough heat off the big processors that AMD and Intel are making now with straight air. You've got to go to water cooling with these multi-core kind of things. And it's just literally, even if you don't overclock them, it's literally just the weight hanging on the printed circuit board that holds the processor and the memory and the drive controllers and all that stuff. So water cooling probably coming to a PC to you if you buy anything in the high what would you call it? High processor line. Yeah, something like that. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're in the CD market and looking for a secure investment, the Tiger First Mortgage Program may work for you. The security for these first mortgages are building lots in the Tax Opportunity Zone in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tax Act of 2018 set up tax-free zones across the country where you can build and hold for 10 years and pay no tax on the profits, which makes these lots valuable. The investment is anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000. The interest paid is 7% yearly, paid on a monthly basis. According to Bankrate.com, the best rate for a 4-year CD in the country as of February 20th is 3.1%. A $50,000 investment at a normal 4-year CD rate of 3.1% would give you income of $1,550 per year or $6,200 over the 4-year period. That same $50,000 investment in the Tiger First Mortgage Program would give you $3,500 per year or $14,000 over the 4 years. Which would you prefer, $6,200 or $14,000 of interest on your investment? If you would like more information about the Tiger First Mortgage Program, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And we got a comment from Richard who says that AMD's been in a trading range forever from 10 to 40 bucks. The only thing I can say is that the numbers from Newegg, which is the big company for buying chips, Newegg.com, did release the sales numbers for what they are selling now for the retail guy that is either building a computer for his business or the gamer or that kind of stuff. And we're talking about people probably not buying Xenon processors for a web service, web server, or a web farm of some kind. We're not talking about Google or Microsoft or any of these guys that own their own hardware. We're talking about either small businesses or somebody that owns a couple of computers for playing games, or individual small business, something like that, where they're building something for themselves. What we found out right after, I think it was on the 3rd, Newegg actually said to somebody that where the middle of the summer, they were selling about 50% AMD and 50% Intel processors to the retail client. They're selling 90% AMD and 10% Intel. I mean, there's going to be some huge numbers, I suspect, for AMD. And I was late to the party on it, mostly because I liked Intel so well. I just figured that they couldn't just fumble the ball as badly as they did, but they certainly did. They threw the game. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Yeah, Newegg, if you want to buy your own parts, put your own computer together, which is mostly what gamers are going to do, because they're going to do their own custom setup for video cards and the rest. But as good as AMD is doing in the processor business, NVIDIA is doing in the video card business. You can normally tell by how many sales there are after Christmas, that kind of stuff. And the best I've seen is one ad that was like a $20 mail-in rebate for any of the NVIDIA cards. You do get a test today of the previous high minus about 4 cents. And that may be very interesting to watch for the rest of the market. Testing a 15 million share high on December 23rd with about 6 million shares now. So for me, the thing I'd want to be looking for is any potential close in the next 3 days under a 3x3 displaced moving average. If you were looking for weakness in the SMHs, I don't see much. This one may be the more interesting one of the bunch, but again, I don't think their numbers are going to be bad. So maybe there's something else that happens. But on sales figures, AMD is going to have a blowout quarter, probably the best quarter by far. And I mean, not just a little bit, but probably monster that they have. So if AMD is going to pull back, maybe it has to wait till Intel comes out with a better product. And I always thought Intel probably would. Now, of course, they're back up and failed their test of the high, the April 17th high at $58.83. That had 39 million shares. Got up, went above it for a day with 17 million shares, half the volume, and then popped back down. If Intel comes out with a new product, I suspect I know what it would be, and that's going to be the cross-point memory. They could make their processors immensely faster than AMD. And include it inside the chip, where AMD would have to do a cross-licensing with Micron, which is a lot tougher. Intel owns their own version of the MEM resistor technology. And that's the biggest thing that's going to happen in this business in the next few years. You just don't know where the tipping point is. Intel sells, and the reason that Intel's still doing as well as they are is they're selling that, what they call their Optane memory, which is basically the cross-point memory. This is a different kind of memory in that when you turn the power off, it still retains the memory, but at the same time, it's about 1,000 times faster than existing memory. If you've ever built any computers yourself, the slowest part of all computers in the past was disk drives, and then second it was memory. Well, with SSDs, it's all about more the memory in the computer than anything else. So if Intel, and also Intel is the biggest manufacturer of memory in the world, by the way, but pretty ugly looking top. You're back underneath it, but not quite the signal that you got on NVIDIA. NVDA. So maybe there's something else that I'm not seeing in NVIDIA here, but certainly any close below, what's that, about 237, 238. If it comes down there, you get a nice down with and have volume on the same day. You're really looking at NVIDIA coming around and back to the 210. This is not a forecast. You shouldn't, I don't see enough up here in the market to say pull the trigger now. But, next couple of days, you see this thing trading, it comes off this on a high, back down to like 235 with a lot of volume and a big candle. You need to be paying attention to that, because that's one of the ones. What is a good, he says PVN. I assume you mean VPN. Company to use, and my answer would be one in either Switzerland or in Switzerland. What's next to it? I'd go for one in Switzerland. They're all about the same, other than the fact that if you use one in Switzerland, they normally don't keep any logs, and they won't fork over anything to anybody. But they kind of come and go. You should spend about $5 a month for a VPN. But most of them have monthly trials. But yeah, about $5, something like that. But I get one from Switzerland because if you're really doing anything that you want to keep private, they just really turn over the data to anybody. And of course, it's not so much that. It's the fact that they keep the data and other people can hack it, maybe get your bank records or whatever else you're doing on it. So I would steer away from any U.S. VPN and try to go to somebody that doesn't keep records like the Swiss, which is against the law to do, I think, for most of the companies over there. So I would look at that. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. We've got one more segment coming up. I can't remember if there was anything else I wanted to talk about today. As we said, Wednesday morning, that is tomorrow if you live in Lutz, Florida. Of course, we start seeing that with Lennar tomorrow morning, so you want to take a look before the bell on that. After the bell tomorrow night, we've got Bed Bath and Below. That's never been pretty, but I don't know. It may just be so low that goes up. Maybe we'll take a look at that when we come back. Or give me a call.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
On the theme of looking at housing stocks and maybe these things bottoming, KBH Homes certainly looks a little better. Again, these they come out with earnings after the bell on Thursday. It's not a glut. It's not going to move the market. But if you're looking for sectors to kind of move around, again, that would be one that you'd want to watch. I don't see. I mean, it doesn't look half bad, other than the fact we don't have a lot of volume today. Looks like we could get to 2 million shares by the end of the day, which is the high of October 25th. But again, you're going into earnings. It's not uncommon for a lot of people to get squeezed out going into a high. Not a great looking chart. It's an okay looking chart, but I don't know on that either. Do we have any other emails? I think that's about it for the day. We got about a minute, so we'll go back and look at some of the ones that people have been asking me to look at, but I kind of got bored with them. Amazon is one of those, and again, as far as I can tell, Amazon's just in a big triangle here. We're looking for a big breakout on one side or the other to fade. But my guess is that on Amazon's next move out of this, you're going to see probably a $70 to $100 move in a day or two. And if it goes down, probably means that you want to buy it. If it goes up, probably means you want to short it. But I don't see that much of you could do out here. Ideally, you'd want it to test, if you want to short the thing, 2,035.80, which is the July 11th high. You'd want to test that on about 2 million shares. Energy has not been all that exciting off the October 3rd low. And of course, all these companies are targets for the Justice Department on antitrust issues. So we'll look at that. Anyway, earnings tomorrow morning. So make sure and check on that in the housing sector and Lennar. And in the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.